And you lovely people. Just a quick one. I had loads of people banging on my door at the start of the first lockdown wanting to buy music tech equipment, sequencer and all that palaver and that. And we're getting quite a few people who are wanting to send me projects to mix that they've done in different versions of Cubase and things and other DAWs. So really all this little video is going to be is to do with preparing your files to send off to somebody else to mix. I get this quite a lot. I've got to prepare files to send off because when I finish a project, the label might want their big Mr. Super Duper Mega Brill mixer to do the project. Anyway, this is the process that I do. I've also included rendering off some MIDI stuff as well. Okie doke, let's get this show on the road. So first things first, what I will be doing is get me MIDI rendered off and MIDI exported. One of the things I do here is pop up to key editor. There's already one in. So I've just put a little note in there way before the beginning of the track. It goes right back to the beginning. So when you load the MIDI file into Cubase, because we're rendering everything off from 0 bars or 0 seconds. Let's get rid of that. I don't need that one. So 0 seconds there. First thing we need to do is render this off as a MIDI track. Let's have a little look at what instrument we're using there. Drawbar organ. There's no effects on. There may be, it's now on the organ track. There might be on the 2-bus. Ozone, but I've got that muted already. Brilliant. So let's just get that MIDI file exported. I'm just going to do the super quick way. Well, not super quick way, but I just got to change these to the what I'm naming it there. This is the naming scheme allows you to do it when you're doing it on a batch of tunes. So that's all set there. So now I'm just going to export just the stereo out, which I'm calling organ. Check that it's going into the right folder. So choose, yep, it's going into there. I can just bin that off there. That's an old version of it. So that'll right over the top. It might tell us if it's in the poll. Export audio. Tremendous stuff. Right, why are we doing this? Slurp of tea. Because tea's ace, and I'm not allowed to booze till 8 o'clock. We want to make sure that we can work straight away. So if there's any problems, the most problems that I've seemed to have had over the years is when people are sending me MIDI files and they're not the tempo that they want, and it can be a real arse on if it's just like half a BPM out. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a stereo output, and I'm putting this into the folder that I'm going to send to the prospective mix engineer or whoever's going to be working on the project. The reason we're doing this is that the Mr. Mix engineer, if you're sending it off to somebody else to mix, might have hordes and hordes of wonderful plugins and VST instruments that are not available here at the moment, or at any time if I didn't feel like buying them. Right, there's the stereo track has just finished rendering in. If I click onto, there's the organ stereo. I've even spelt it right. How good's that? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to drag and drop it in. The reason I'm dragging and dropping it in is because it can just go from the beginning. And then drag the wrong thing in. Control Z, always a good one. So I'll drag the organ in. That's nice though, if you're aware of that we can dump that the organ in Just pop that above there so we can see it. We can dump the MIDI file into the project. This project, as I've written down, the tempo of the MIDI file that's going in is 80 BPM. You can see there we've got 80 BPM. Oh, shove the transport bar on. Shove the transport bar on, and there's 80 BPM in 4/4, which is lovely. Right, what's the next bit of the process? The next bit of the process for me will be to go to make sure the organ's right at the beginning, and then I shouldn't need to update the project there, but what I like to do is, I don't think there are any stereo channels of the overheads too separate. Yeah, they are, left and right. Check no stereo guitars. No. Bass is mono. Brilliant. Stereo vocals. No. Backing vocals, we can lose that now already, actually. See, what I'm starting to do now is get rid of some of the things that I don't need. So, at this point now, I'll go File, Save As, and then Nuns of Destruction, Mix Prep, Auto. So if everything crashes and dies, which doesn't happen very often in Cubase, but it could do, we've got that saved. So we've saved our MIDI off. Virtually everything's MIDI now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to convert this track into 2 mono tracks, and we do that through Project and Convert Tracks. So mono to multi-channel, merge mono to other way around, you dialoid. Convert tracks, multi-channel to mono, and what I've got it set up on the source track, the selected one. Delete the source track, and what it's going to do now is it's just going to rename it audio left wave, audio right wave. So this is dead quick, dead clever. And there we go. There's the organ, stereo left and right. So what we need to do now is quick save, get rid of everything that we're not using. So I'm quite brutal with this, so I'll just hit that up there and that there, right click, remove selected tracks. In our drums, I'm holding down Control. Yeah, Macs have another thing for that, I can't remember, or Command, I think. Have we got any other group tracks? We'll have a look in a minute. So remove them. So that's them removed. And the bass, just pop that bass and get rid of that folder track. Right, this is probably going to take a couple of ticks to do. So I'll zoom it up if I can work out how to do that in the thingy when I do that editing thing. Right, that's all the tracks, all the group tracks and things removed. Get rid of the effects as well. No, I've only used 3 effects. That's an interesting one. Those are. So that's making life a little bit easier. And I've got the groove agent thing on here that was set up as a click track. I'm just going to remove that as well. Just makes it a little bit cleaner to work with. Hit the old Control S. So the plan now is we're just going to get rid of all our settings. See all these here. Let's have a look at the routing. Some of these will have lost the routing on this. So what I'm going to try and do now is we're going to reset the mix console channel. And just do that by reset mix console, reset all, and everything should go back to 0 here. There we go, everything's gone back to 0. And you see how we've got our stereo out back there. So that means when we render everything off and we save everything, they'll all be saved as these individual tracks at the level where they're at. Actually, quick tip here, that bass definitely does look a bit loud. So I'm just going to drag that down so you can see visually. If I get them all the same size, the waves, you can see that's not so bad. Hat's a bit loud there as well, so I'm just going to drag that down a little bit. Just a visual thing. I mean, I could go through what I would be doing if this was going to end up going off to someone else. I would have actually measured all these before that started. So quick save, file, save as 03. That's tremendous. So what we want to do now is we want to get all these tracks saved as a wave file. And the way that we're going to do that is, this is it's the key bit to it all, is in Cubase we have the ability to render these down as individual tracks, and we can also what we call mono down mix. So, but what I'm going to do first is we're just going to go in here and I'm going to give it channel name, drag that on to there. So they'll all be given a name now. Mono down mix, we're not going to real-time export, the 24-bit, 44.1, that's tremendous. That's all set up. We've got one thing left to do here, is I'm just going to quickly show you, just to make life easier for Mr. Mix Engineer, hit home, 01, and then kick. Now if you hit tab, it takes it the next one, home, 02, home, 03, etc, etc. Right, that's everything labelled. Left and right are set right. Go back to our mix down and we're going to set our left and right locators. This is going to record all our separate outs. So I'm just going to hit, we don't want the stereo out, just hit all them audio channels there. And we can see that the naming schemes pick the first one, that will be 01, kick, WAV, and then we send them into choose a folder. Yeah, want them as special things, Duns of Destruction, Mix 01. That's okay there. So we've sent them to that folder and then just hit export audio. And this will export audio. So the key things, just a little recap while this is exporting. Do all your MIDI tracks first. All your MIDI instruments. If you've got anything that you're playing external sound, you need to record them into Cubase so that then audio, then you're not going to lose them if your bit of kit dies or whatever. Make sure you've got everything nice and prepped. Then one of the cool things with Cubase, you don't have to put loads of these mad crossfades in. The stuff's generally alright. I mean, I'll put crossfades in anyway because I'm a bit boring like that. We've rendered our MIDI instrument down. That was this here, Hallion Sonic, and it's now called organ stereo left, organ stereo right. So if I save this now, Control S, and I look in my folder, what we should have is, you see we've got all the tracks and we've got the MIDI there. So what we're going to do, that's saved. I'm just going to open a new project. So file, new, create empty. Let's go back to special things. Runs test. We don't have to worry too much about this. So what I want is that folder back, and then what I'm going to look at here is I'm just going to drag in. Right, first off, we're at 120. Change that to 80. Pull your MIDI in first. So there's our. You can see what we need to do there. Just get hold of that and drag it all along to the beginning. And it's exported our click track as well. So there's the MIDIs all there if we so desire. And then what I'm going to do now is just bung all of this back in here on different tracks. And all this will be placed in this new folder. So just shove that back up the beginning. And Bob's your Uncle George. Just a quick one. What I'll do here is I'm just going to have a look at there's the MIDI that we've got of the organ and see when the organ's coming in exactly the same time. If I zoom right in there, I'll put that nice and tight to the beginning of the organ. There's our organ. Oh, there we go. So, bang on. Tremendous. Job done. And then all we need to do is zip that folder. And there's our RAR ready to send off to someone. RAR or a zip. Just make sure that they've got that at the other end. We know that RARs are better than zips. So zip will do it a push. But it gets everything in one place as well. And then up to you where you're going to be sending it off. So I'm not going to do that. You've seen the process of it. And that there endeth the sermon of preparing a song for a mix. See you later. Ding the bell thing. Subscribe. And have a listen to the car alarm. Rave on.